Good afternoon, everyone. We are glad that you could be here this afternoon for this press conference regarding Hurricane Milton. This is a dangerous hurricane, and there's much information to share. Up with the mayor this afternoon are several of our commissioners. Commissioner Gomez-Cordero, Commissioner Scott is with us, Commissioner Uribe, and Commissioner Emily Bonilla. We're so glad that each of them could join us as well. There's lots of information to announce regarding schools, regarding the weather, and other pieces of information. To start us off will be the mayor himself, Mayor Demings. Mayor?
All right. Good afternoon to all of you. Let me just begin by thanking you, thanking our community for the efforts that they have underway at this point to prepare for the storm. Earlier this afternoon, I had the opportunity to get a briefing from the National Weather Service and one of their meteorologists. At that time, as many of you know by now, they informed us that the hurricane had strengthened to a Category 5. However, that does not mean that perhaps by the time that it reaches land or reaches Orange County, it will still be a Category 5. But what he said to us is that it will still be a major storm at that point, and that we should anticipate at a minimum hurricane Category 1 force winds, which is up to 110 miles per hour. That is significant. What that means to us is that our community is likely going to experience both power outages, trees down, and potentially even some localized flooding. Because of the amount of rainfall that is anticipated, it will not be uniform across our county, but there will be some areas that could experience 10 to 12 inches or more of rain. Other areas of our county, because of the size of our county, could experience less rain. But in either case, what we have been doing as a county is preparing for the worst case scenario. We have been working with our citizens by doing a number of things. Orange County is now also under a local state of emergency. We have been placed under a state of the emergency as well as a federal state of emergency. And so we're consistent at all levels of government at this point. What that allows us to do is to respond to operational demands and concerns from a fiscal perspective to take care of the needs of our community. As we have also learned at this point, due to the weather phenomena, Orange County government will be closed for normal business beginning on Wednesday, and that will remain through Thursday. We'll have to just see the impacts of the storm and make a decision perhaps as early as sometime tomorrow about whether or not we will be open for normal business on Friday. When I say normal business, what I'm saying is that our non-essential personnel, our employees who are deemed as such, would not come to work, that most of our offices would not be open for general public business. However, I want our public to realize that the remainder of our county employee will be out working in the community to ensure that our community is safe. That includes all of our first responders who will be all hands on deck for the remainder of this particular storm. I want to say thank you to our community for preparing. In fact, I'm told that at this point, we have given out in Orange County alone approximately 100,000 sandbags and counting. The demand for sandbags has been nothing short of extraordinary. Our citizens are preparing. You should prepare for your homes to potentially experience some localized flooding, and we need everyone to be engaged. And I, again, say thank you to our community for that. Also, as of 11 a.m. today, Orange County was placed under hurricane watch. We'll see how that shakes out. Also, like any of these major storms, the potential for tornadic activity also remains. The meteorologist for the National Weather Service made it clear to me that tomorrow, Tuesday, is a day of preparation for us. It's a day for us to continue our normal business activities as a division of government, but also a day for us to better prepare our citizens for what may come on Wednesday. In terms of the time, it's somewhat fluid, but he has said to us that we should particularly pay attention beginning at daybreak on Wednesday. He anticipates that the weather will deteriorate throughout the day, but by midday we should have sustained winds, perhaps at 70 miles per hour or greater, and significant rainfall by that time that will worsen as the day moves forward. The impacts will certainly be top of mind for all of us within this community. We are working with our local schools and preparing for the opening of shelters and working with some of our county facilities as we move forward. Some of the local divisions of government have also indicated that they will be closed for normal business on Wednesday and Thursday. Most of the municipalities in Orange County have indicated that they will be closed for normal business on Wednesday and Thursday. Our schools are here. Dr. Vasquez, the superintendent, is here. She's going to speak to you about impacts on the schools. Our courts will also be closed for business on Wednesday and Thursday. No decision has been made on Friday. We're also notified that the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority and the Orlando International Airport will cease flights sometime Wednesday morning. The exact time was not known when they briefed me. How long the airport will stay closed, we do not know at this time, but what that means is that people who are trying to depart or trying to come back into the area, they need to take that into consideration, that it could be Thursday. We may see that our airport is closed for the balance of the majority of Wednesday. Also, let's talk a little bit about the shelters. Orange County will be opening shelters for people with special needs tomorrow. We will make announcements about where the specific shelters will be located, given updates with the weather phenomena as today goes forward. It is our intention to open as many as 11 general population shelters during this storm. They will likely open at some time Tuesday, tomorrow evening. We hope to get all of our general population shelters open by 6 p.m. Tomorrow, and they will stay open until we make a determination to close the shelters, and that will certainly be after the storm passes. 6 of those 11 shelters will be pet friendly. We'll make announcements about that later. We are partnering with Lynx, so tomorrow in preparation for the opening of the shelters, Lynx has agreed to persons who depend on public transit as their primary mode of transportation. They will be able to, without charge, get on a bus and wherever they are, make the appropriate connections to get to the closest shelter, and at that point, the shelter locations will be known. So look forward to that more tomorrow. In terms of our public works, this is going to be a public works phenomenon for us because of the heavy rainfall, the significant tropical force winds that we will experience. There's no question we are going to have power outages, and they will be significant. We will have trees down. We will have some damage because of the sustained winds that we will experience as a community. But our power and utility companies are present. They will share with you information about what they anticipate tomorrow. We have been working throughout the last several days now with our water management districts here within the region, that being the South Florida Water Management District and the St. John's Water Management District. We've been working with them where appropriate to lower water body levels, lakes, et cetera, within our county. We have to get their approval to do so, because it's just not as simple as removing a dike to allow water to go into another area. It could have impacts on other areas, so it does have to be a comprehensive approach that we use as a community with managing the flow of water in advance and during and after the storm as well. And so we have our partnerships. We're in communication across the region to make certain that we do not have adverse impacts on other neighboring communities. In addition, we are well aware that there are some areas within our county that are more prone to flooding than other areas, such areas as the Reams Road area. We have already worked with the water management districts, and we've deployed temporary pumps in the Reams Road area that is out in the Horizons West area. In addition, of course, all of you know what we have experienced with places like Orla Vista. We have worked diligently with our public works team to make certain that the capacity is what it needs to be. We believe that with the capacity that we have there, with all of the large retention ponds and other pumping operations that we have around the Orla Vista area, that we have sufficient capacity to deal with this particular storm. There are other areas of the county. If you know your particular neighborhood or location is prone to flooding with localized road flooding on an average day, then you can anticipate that there potentially could be some flooding in those particular areas. Everyone has to adequately prepare to have supplies, food, et cetera, medications on hand for multiple days. That is something that each person has a responsibility to do. In terms of whether you decide to leave your property or not is a decision that you have to make with full knowledge. If you know that you're in an area that potentially could flood, that's why we're opening up our shelter locations where you'll have a place to go. We are told by our various hoteliers here in the area that there are significant rooms that are available, and they have gone into a process now where they have lowered their room rates to something that is very, very affordable for people who may be coming into our county from other counties that may have more of a direct hit than we would. We happen to have more hotel rooms here than any other location, certainly in Florida, one of the highest number of hotel rooms available anywhere in the country. And so what I can tell our residents is that if your particular home, mobile home, et cetera, is one that is more likely to experience damage, consider leaving those areas, consider going to a hotel or a shelter, or going to live with a family member who has more of a solid structure perhaps than you do. If your area is prone to flooding and you stay, it becomes a bit of a challenge even for first responders to go in and to try to retrieve you from that particular area. So we want you to take the caution in advance to do what you can to help yourselves, help us as well in that process, as we will be trying to manage through these processes. We've had the opportunity to meet today and have lengthy discussions, again, with all of our local partners, with all of our homeless shelters, with our schools, with our courts, even with our business community as we are going forward together during this particular storm season. And so with that, I'm going to ask Dr. Vasquez to come up and share any information with you about Orange County Public Schools. Dr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor Demings. I want to take this opportunity to tell our families and our employees to please take this storm very seriously and make the necessary preparations to be able to deal with the impact. My team is closely monitoring Hurricane Milton, and unlike Hurricane Helene, the storm has the potential for significantly greater impact on our community and on our schools. With that, tomorrow is a regular school day. However, we have canceled all after-school activities with the exception of after-school childcare. All schools and district offices will be closed Wednesday and Thursday. We expect to be able to assess the damage to our schools sometime Thursday, and at that time we'll be able to make a determination about Friday being able to reopen our schools and resume all extracurricular activities. Monday, October 14th, is a scheduled student holiday and teacher workday. This Friday is also the end of the first marking period, and with the closure of schools because of the storm, students will have the opportunity to make up work, and teachers will have until Friday, October 18th, to enter grades. We have also canceled the town hall that was scheduled Wednesday at Odyssey Middle School, and we'll be rescheduling that one. We will continue to update our families and employees through our phone calls, emails, and text messages as information becomes available and decisions are made. We also encourage everyone to follow OCPS on all of our social media channels and on ocps.net. I want to thank Mayor Demings and his incredible team for their partnership and collaboration as we navigate the potential impacts of Hurricane Milton. I also want to thank our media partners for helping us get the information out to all of our stakeholders. Thank you, and I pray everyone stays safe throughout the storm. At this time, I'm going to ask Audrey Stasko from Duke Energy to bring words and updates.
Good evening. So Duke Energy Florida is committed to restoring your power as quickly and safely as possible following what will be a very major hurricane. We are mobilizing around 10,000 responders. This is line workers, tree trimmers, damage assessors, and support personnel at safe strategic locations across the state to respond as quick as possible. More than 8,000 of those resources will be staged locally at the Village's staging site and Ritchie Bros Auctioneers in Davenport. Once it's safe to do so, those crews will begin damage assessment and what we feel will be a lengthy restoration process based on the current projected path and intensity of this storm. We anticipate significant damage, widespread power outages to some of the most densely populated areas in our service territory. So we are preparing for more than 1 million power outages across the state. And just for perspective, we serve close to 1 million here in the Central Florida area with 430,000 electric customers right here in Orange County. So Duke Energy Florida is ready, but I can't stress it enough. There will be extended power outages, and so we ask our customers to plan now for those power outages. Something that we saw with Hurricane Helene was that, homes that weren't prone to flooding were flooded. Homes that didn't experience outages in previous storms experience outages. Trees that remained during high winds were uprooted. And so we can't stress it enough. Take this storm seriously. Let's use the lessons we learned during Helene, apply them now, and plan ahead for an extended power outage. And this is especially important for those that are dependent on electricity with in-home medical equipment. Have a plan in place to either evacuate or have a backup source of power generation. We know widespread outages will occur. And so also for those homes, the mayor talked a lot about homes that we know are prone to flooding. Make sure that you go ahead and turn the power off from your circuit breaker or fuse box ahead of any outage. This is going to protect your equipment. If your home is threatened by rising floodwaters, go ahead and turn off your power preemptively, at your circuit breaker. Safety is number one before, during, and after a hurricane. And so we have lots of information available for our customers at duke-energy.com/storm tips. Stay safe and know that Duke Energy will be ready to respond. I'm going to kick it over to Luz Aviles with OUC.
OUC is preparing for Hurricane Milton's impact to our service area. While it is difficult to predict the full extent of outages currently, we are anticipating prolonged outages and ask our customers to do the same. We are increasing our restoration efforts to 5 times our normal size in order to respond to outages caused by the storm. This includes line techs, tree trimmers, and assessors. Because many crews throughout the southeastern U.S. are in the Carolinas helping to restore and rebuild electric infrastructure and water infrastructure, for those devastated by Hurricane Helene, our mutual aid is constrained. As you know, some in North Carolina are still without power and water almost 2 weeks later. Therefore, mutual aid resources are traveling from states farther away to assist us than we normally call from. Once they arrive, they will work alongside OUC crews to restore power lines and fix any customer issues round the clock as long as it is safe to do so. We also enhance our outage call support line for those needing assistance through the telephone. While OUC prepares for storm season all year long by strengthening our electric and water infrastructure, improving our outage management system, and training our staff, I want to reiterate that Milton will cause outages in our service territory, and we ask for customers to prepare for multiple days of being without power. It is possible that a large percent of our customers could be without power, as we saw with Hurricane Irma, which took multiple days to restore. So please plan accordingly, as you've heard multiple people here say today. We also ask for customers to have patience with our crews as they're in your community and in your neighborhoods. To restore service in an orderly fashion, we have to evaluate the damage to our electric system, and that could take up to 48 hours following the storm. And that will allow us to provide a system-wide estimate of restoration. Rest assured that crews will restore power as soon as possible and as soon as it is safe to do so. First, we begin by restoring critical power to hospitals, police, and fire stations. Then we focus on repairs to restore power to the most customers in the most efficient way possible. And then we focus on repairs to restore power to customers localized. At this time, we also want to make sure to give you information so that you can update your account information with OUC by visiting myouc.com. If you haven't already done so, you can register for receiving outage alerts in English or in Spanish by texting REG to 69682. During the storm, customers can visit ouc.com to report power outages or troubles or call 407-423-9018. As always, the safety of our customers, our employees, and the community is our #1 priority. High winds will bring down trees, which can bring down power lines, so please consider all lines as well as trees, limbs, and anything else that you could encounter with the power lines as energized and dangerous. Flooding creates a unique and dangerous restoration environment, as floodwaters can be energized by downed power lines or other electrical equipment, so potentially leading to serious shock. Please stay away from water pools. More safety tips for avoiding downed power lines and floodwater risks are available at ouc.com/storm center. There's also generator safety information and ways to avoid scammers or cyber criminals who use natural disasters to pretend to be utility companies. Also, when it comes to water, uprooted trees can impact water lines and cause disruption to that service. So we estimate that customers should have 1 gallon of water per person per day available. If you're unable to find bottled water, fill up empty bottles, cups around your home. You can also fill up your tub so you have water available to use for hand washing, flushing toilets, or whatever other needs you may have. OUC will notify customers of any boil water notices if applicable. On behalf of all of OUC employees, I thank you for your support and patience as we respond to any Hurricane Milton issues this week. Please stay safe. And now back to Mayor Demings.
Okay, you heard it from our utility companies. One thing I didn't mention was that we intend to pick up in unincorporated Orange County regular trash and garbage pickups tomorrow on Tuesday. Because of the impact from sustained winds on Wednesday, we will be suspending our regular yard waste and garbage pickups on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll reevaluate whether we'll pick up on Friday or Saturday. But in the interim, we have made a decision that our landfill will stay open tomorrow. Our transfer stations will be open tomorrow. Only the landfill will be open on Wednesday. So if you have your residential yard waste that you want to take to the landfill, we are waiving the fees. You will not have to pay in order to take that away. The goal here is to make certain that if there are any perils that exist out in the community, in your neighborhoods, that to the extent we can, we want to have you take that in. Do not, after tomorrow, do not leave your trash cans or other items, large items out. That is something that you've got to make certain that you put in your garages, tie down on your carports, et cetera, in order to make certain that they do not become some type of wind-borne missile, if you will, as a result of the high winds that we will experience. With that, what I'll do at this time is open it up for any questions that you may have to any Spanish-speaking media. If you have questions in Spanish, we will take those questions as well. I'll use one of my special assistants to come up and assist in that process. If you have questions for any of our elected officials who are here, certainly they will be available for one-on-ones to respond to your questions as well. But I'll open it up at this time. Okay. There's a mic that he's going to take around.
Hi. I wanted to see if you could give kind of context comparison. I know when we spoke recently about Helene, I think you opened maybe about 3 shelters. This time you're looking at 11 shelters. So just speak to, one, again, the significance of this storm, and is 11 like the max number of shelters that could open?
Well, we base it on historical experience when we've had significant types of weather phenomena. Sometimes we've had 4,000 plus people in our shelters. We believe that with 3 shelters open for people with special needs, coupled with the 11 that are will be strategically located throughout the county. They will be in every quadrant of the county to allow people easy access to get to those shelters. We believe that we will be able to shelter thousands. Okay. Other questions? The reason why we're not specifically announcing where the shelters will be located now, we use schools and other locations for those shelter operations. And sometimes if you make the announcement too far in advance, people go there before they're prepared. School right now, as you heard from Dr. Vasquez, is due to be open tomorrow. And so we do not want to have conflicts with the general public and with our school children. And so there's an orderly process that we have by which when we open the shelters, our shelter managers and operators are there, and it's safe for everyone. All right, other questions? Okay, there's one in the far back.
So as of this time, you guys are not imposing a curfew in Orange County, correct?
No, we will not institute curfews unless that is highly recommended by law enforcement. And typically, we don't know whether or not to implement curfews until the storm is really upon us, and we've had the opportunity to measure the devastation that could occur in the closure of businesses. But there are still people who are going to need to move around our community as we prepare, both those who are working to respond to the storm, and then other people who are moving around. And so I will not take the decision lightly to institute a curfew until we absolutely know that that's something that we'll need to do. So more to follow as we monitor the storm. That is always a potential that we could do. Okay. If there are no other questions, again, thank you. At some point tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon, we'll come back and we'll give another update. We will be receiving an update from the National Weather Service midday tomorrow. One thing about it, because of the size and the magnitude of the storm that we're talking about, the closer we get to it, the more precise we can be in terms of the hours that you will be impacted and what type of impact you will actually see. And we make adjustments as we manage the response efforts. So again, thank you all for being here.